The idea that anything new under the sun is key for mind control to work. Let's break some spells, ladies and gentlemen. So I didn't want to talk about this Greta character because I felt like it was a distraction. It's a beautiful rainy day here, by the way. I love living in the Pacific Northwest. Rain is awesome. I don't have any interest in analyzing or this child telling the world how to live. But the role of child soldiers is not new. In fact, I don't know what the root of infantry is, but the word infant is in infantry. So people use children in war. It's a psychopath's favorite tool because non-psychopaths always will feel empathy towards a child. It's in our nature. All right, so who is Greta, first off? Where does she come from? She is a relative of her father, the chemist Svante Arrhenius is the founder of the global warming scam. Her family has been in this business for a long time. He was a colleague of Alfred Nobel, which is basically the Russian Rockefellers. And later, after his death, director of the Nobel Institute, he was a board member for the Swedish Society of Racial Hygiene and a eugenicist. Thunberg is also a known Freemason family. The ancestor of her mother was a natural philosopher, social engineer from Uppsala, who has ties to Bavarian Illuminati founder Adam Weishaupt. In this photo, you can see Louisa Marie Nerber. Her handler, she's a member of one foundation managed by Bono, Bill Gates, George Soros. None of this is surprising at all. They operate like the Chinese Cultural Revolution. They want kids to hate the old for killing the earth. They radicalized the kids against the adults violently. They pushed for totalitarianism. The Chinese Cultural Revolution led to the death of 100 million people. Don't worry about the 100 million people thing. That's just spooky numbers. Just understand the purpose of it. And that this girl is from a background of this. And she is admitted to having autism. She is, I wouldn't call her severely autistic, but she is deep on the spectrum, which is a form of mental retardation. Retardation simply means underdeveloped, which this girl is. She's also a child and a foreigner. And the things she's saying it's a scam. It's a scam for money. And Al Gore figured out how to become a billionaire with carbon credits. And it's not new. And you're not allowed to say the truth in the mainstream media. As we can see, Michael Knowles. Has Fox News cut ties with Michael Knowles after a mentally ill comment? Fox News just apologized today for accurately pointing out that this girl is admittedly mentally ill. Al Gore, a billionaire who sold the global warming scam and his invented TV station, I can't remember the name of the network, but he sold it to Qatar, which is one of the world's largest oil producers. It's mind-blowing. It truly is mind-blowing to me how people don't see it. But it's because of fear, and that's when I come in. It's not because you're a bad person. It's because you're scared. And you're scared because you don't speak the truth. Greta, when she doesn't have her script, this is her response. Let me show you this. This is very recent. It's Greta at the UN. So when people say stuff like, listen to her, she has something to say to the president, all this stuff. She actually does not, factually.
Could you please tell us what kind of message, what you are doing here today, what kind of message would you send by doing this to world leaders? And also kind of ask you, do you think it's about time that President Trump would respond to what you have said today?
I think... I'm sorry, what was the first question?
What's the message you would like to send to our leaders by doing what you are doing?
I think what we want to send is... The message we want to send is to say that we have had enough. And anyone else wants to answer that question? I can't speak on behalf of everyone.
Anyone wants to answer about the message to world leaders?
President Trump is here today. Do you think he should respond in any way?
I think maybe you should give some questions to the others as well. Yeah.
So she doesn't have anything to say. She is a mouthpiece, a trained puppet, an actress with severe mental retardation for an elite group of people who are making literally trillions of dollars with an energy scam called global warming. If you would like to see the I won't be sarcastic. If you would like to see the effects of global warming, here we have unprecedented. This is sarcastic, but whatever. Unprecedented sea level rise in Sydney Harbor over the last 140 years due to massive climate change. Okay, I'm normally not go for sarcasm, but as you can see, in 140 years, the water hasn't went up 1 inch. And some would say, and I've heard this argued from people under mind control, that it's because it's in different areas. Like different parts of the ocean are affected differently. If someone says that, you can show them a glass of water and teach them about the displacement of water, where water would rise and fall as a unit in the whole world. Any water that's connected, if you raise it, the whole thing raises. Of all the world's oceans are all connected. So as you can see here, and also if the ice cubes, if the glaciers were to melt, just like in a glass of water, the sea level does not rise because when ice freezes, if you can use a glass of water to debunk the global warming hoax. Put ice cubes in a glass of water. Put lipstick or something at the line of where the water is and let the ice melt. The line does not change because it's about the displacement. Okay? So there is no sea level rise. It's not happening. It's never happened. This is over 140 years. There isn't 1 inch of sea level rise. And so now the reason I'm addressing this is because it isn't new. I'm now about to show you something that's fairly mind-blowing. This is Meet Severin Suzuki. Severin Suzuki, this is in 1992. Severin Suzuki is my age. So when this was given, I was 12. Here we go. Listen to the children. There we go.
Hello, I'm Severin Suzuki, speaking for ECHO, the Environmental Children's Organization. We're a group of 12 and 13-year-olds trying to make a difference. Vanessa Setti, Morgan Geisler, Michelle Quigg, and me. We've raised all the money to come here ourselves, to come 5,000 miles to tell you adults you must change your ways. Coming up here today, I have no hidden agenda.
Okay, that's everything she's already said is a lie. Her father is David Suzuki, and many Canadians know him. He is a famous scam artist and a propagandist for fake environmental issues. David Suzuki is a Canadian academic, science broadcaster, and environmental activist. Suzuki earned a PhD in zoology from the University of Chicago in 1961. This is his daughter, by the way, and was a professor in the genetics department of the University of British Columbia. David Suzuki has encouraged people to not have children because of the humans' devastating impact on the planet. Of course, David Suzuki has 5 children and a broken marriage. That's very, very true, David. So, as a skeptic myself, I look at 1878 to 2018 of the same exact Sydney Harbor, and I see no change whatsoever in sea level rise. So, by David Suzuki's own quote, I am actually doing what he suggests, which is skepticism. Skepticism of one of the greatest frauds ever committed. Of course, they're using a different actress, but it's the same exact scam.
I am fighting for my future.
Okay.
Losing my future is
Just to let you guys know, she has a future. She's rich. Nothing happened to her. She's still complaining and shaming the world. She's literally shaming the world at 12. And nothing she says is true. Just a little word to the wise. If someone ever tells you that they don't, if the first thing someone says is they don't have a hidden agenda, they have a hidden agenda.
Like losing an election or a few points on the stock market. I am here to speak for all generations to come.
Well, you don't have that right. You're 12. And then you go to Yale, and then you become a rich shill. All these people work for the UN to push a globalist agenda where everybody eats bugs in an urban environment and doesn't have children. These people get to have children, but not you.
I am here to speak on behalf of the starving children around the world whose cries go unheard.
Is she going against Planned Parenthood and abortion? No. She's extorting the world for profit. Exactly, Okie Bear.
I am here to speak for the countless animals dying across this planet because they have nowhere left to go.
Just to let you guys know, since this speech, the animals have had plenty of places to go.
I am afraid to go out in the sun now because of the holes in our ozone.
Right, that's also a scam. Never happened. She was scared to go out into the sun in 1992 because of the holes in the ozone.
I'm afraid to breathe the air because I don't know what chemicals are in it.
She's still breathing the air, and she's fine.
I used to go fishing in Vancouver, my home, with my dad, until just a few years ago we found the fish full of cancers.
That's so dumb, I don't even want to comment on it, but I will. That isn't true.
And now we hear of animals and plants going extinct every day, vanishing forever. In my life, I have dreamt of seeing the great herds of wild animals, jungles and rainforests full of birds and butterflies. But now I wonder if they
Yeah, you've seen butterflies, all right. It's called the MK Ultra program.
Even exist for my children to see.
No, they're all there. Everything that you just described is there. My yard is overrun with eagles, hawks, blue jays, robins, all of it. They're always after my strawberries and my chickens. How dare me?
Did you have to worry of these things when you were my age? All this is
She's now suntanned, married to a fisherman, someone said.
happening before our eyes, and yet we act as if we have all the time we want and all the solutions. I'm only a child, and I don't have all the solutions.
Of course not. You don't have any. You don't even know what's wrong or anything. Your dad is David Suzuki, who has been accused of some pretty nefarious things. This is an atheist geneticist propagandist in Canada. He's hated in Canada. Hated. He propped up his daughter to do this as a child soldier, just like Greta Thunberg's mother, as you can see here, mother in quotes, because that's a dude's arm, is propping up her daughter. And the thing about the David Hoggs and the Greta Thunbergs and the Severin Suzukis and the Nairas is people have this weird thing where they're incapable of criticizing a child. That's why they're used as human shields and they're used as the proxy warriors of the evil. You're not doing yourself or your children. I'm taking what this little lady is saying here, that I am a father, I am a husband, I am a son, I am an uncle, I am all these things. I am an American, and I am not doing my duty in any of those by listening to a young dummy telling me that they should tax carbon because of non-existing problems.
I'm only a child, yet I know we are all in this together and should act as one single world towards one single goal.
You see it? You see it right there? You see the point of this little lady? Globalism. It's always been the same. The two goals of the elites are normalizing pedophilia and one world governments. It's all they want. It's all they've ever wanted. It's the goal of the satanic elite. They want everyone to say we are one. That's why they use this imagery. We are all one. No, we're not. We're not all one. My name is O1. That's weird. I just realized that. They're trying to normalize pedophilia at all times. That's always the goal. You know, they got the homophiles, and now they have the trans, and they're always trying to get it down there. They will never succeed. No, they won't. Of course they won't. They've overreached because the scam doesn't work. I watched this little lady when I was her age in school. And it worked on a lot of kids in my school. We used to get so sad and so broken because of all the species in the ozone layer. I remember that fear. It's not new. There's nothing new under the sun, ladies and gentlemen. This is not a new thing. So don't be a coward and sit there and say, "Oh, the world's ending." This is the fear industry. Okay, when I was young, I used to have pictures of like whales and Bengal tigers and stuff all over my room, and I used to draw sharks all the time. And I used to weep thinking about how they were all going to die, and there was nothing I could do about it, and it made me very, very sad, as it did a lot of people. You know, and they talked about the burning rainforest. I remember I was her age when they first started that one, and then they rebooted that fear recently. It's all nonsense. What this little lady is trying to do here is trying to shame Northern European and America and Canada into giving more of its wealth to the third world so that it breaks their economies, and then the one world system can emerge out of the ashes.
In Canada, we live the privileged life with plenty of food, water, and shelter. 2 days ago here in Brazil, we were shocked when we spent time with some children living on the streets. This is what one child told us.
Us. I thought you didn't have an agenda, young lady.
I was rich. And if I were, I would give all the street children food.
It's the older you see the spells, the more transparent they are. Because it's back then people were more naive and gullible and trusting because we lived in a more high trust, more beautiful, more symmetrical world. It hadn't been broken by these people as much as it has been now. And listen to this. There's the odds that this happened is zero. There was no little girl that came up to her in the streets of Rio de Janeiro and said, "I wish I was rich because I could then give all the street kids my money." That is her agenda.
And if I were, I would give all the street children food, clothes, medicines, shelter, and love and affection.
None of that happened. Yeah, before the internet. It's like, it's mind-blowing how people can fall for this stuff. It's Agenda 21, exactly. And it's all being used to shame the world into kneeling for Satan. It's what it is. It's the subjugation of man in the entire world with a one world government where they permit pedophilia. That's the goal. And I've been saying this for a while now, and I don't sound too crazy anymore now, do I? After you see what your kids are learning in the public schools. Yeah, the solution is to homestead, get married, have a lot of children, pray to God, you know. But people like me are the most demonized. People like me that actually have a solution to a fake problem are being just so, because my solution actually works. They want a broken people that are full of shame so that they can be subjugated and enslaved. So all you people saying, I'm just sad for her, it's child abuse, this poor girl. No, if you do that, they'll keep doing it because it means it works. The only answer to using human shields is to shoot the human shield. And I know that sounds cold, but the coldest response is to allow this to work on any level or to feel any sympathy for the children, because you will make more of them. This is evil stuff. But the worst response is to be like, oh, poor girl, poor girl. No. That girl, her testimony started a war that was only in the interest of the bankers and the ruling elite that killed More children than you've ever met in your life and ever will. The stench you can still smell of death. And so if you have any sympathy whatsoever for these people, they win.
My sister.
Oh, by the way, you can tell she's lying because she wanted a peaceful summer holiday in Kuwait. Yeah, someone pointed out it's 60 degrees Celsius in the summer in Kuwait. If you have empathy for any of these people, you're a liability. You're not a good man. You're not a strong man. You might be a good man at some level, but you're very, very useless. You are not being strong by doing that. You're not being a good human when you do that. You think you are, but you're not. Oh, I can't criticize a child. Guess what? Now no one has guns. Oh, David Hogg's a victim. Oh, no. Well, now no one has any guns. Now there's another genocide. Oh, but he's a victim. He's just a child. No. He's trying to take your God-given right to defend your family. I don't care if that's a puppy with a cupcake on his head. Smash it. Because these child soldiers are used by evil. If it works, they will do more. Because it's supply and demand. One of the reasons the title conspiracy theorist is so demonized is because many of these patterns lead right to the people who are in control of this. And so they don't want people to think for themselves. Pattern recognition will show exactly how the fear complex works. The fear industrial complex. It's very, very obvious if you recognize patterns. Severin Suzuki gave an almost identical speech to Greta Thunberg. If you now match what she said in her speech with Greta Thunberg, you can look at Severin's speech and say, none of it came true. It was all to profit with power and money, an elite small group of people that she was propped up by, including her father. And now they still do it without any apology or hesitation because that's their business. And if you fall for it again, you are weak. Remember in Silence of the Lamb, when he's like Silence of the Lambs, when he's just trying to like get help to put his couch in his van, and that girl helps him, and then he kidnaps her and kills her. It's the same thing. I mean, whether you're on the street or whether you're talking about global governance, it's the same scam. That's why you need a code. You need rules. You need God. You need truth. Or else you're done. Because if someone can come and whisper any of this nonsense into your ear and you just go, but Naira, she saw the babies being butchered. No, she didn't. She's a liar. And if you don't learn your lesson from this and say, next time I see a child at the UN or at a human rights thing and they're pushing global control of energy, even though everything around me says that there is no global warming, there is no sea level rise.